In my last poll, everyone voted for an art style study of Horikoshi, the creator of My Hero Academia, and considering Season 8 is coming out now, it just felt like a perfect time to finally break down his style. I'll be using these drawings from his Twitter as the main references. Like I always say when studying an artist, we want to focus primarily on our main goals on top of the style as a whole. In this case, I really like how he does his anatomy, so that was the main thing I focused on. Horikoshi has some interesting proportions, and just a quick disclaimer, he has a wide array of characters that he draws, everything from humans to animals to, I guess you could call them random monsters. So of course, this would be pretty difficult to analyze every single type of body he draws, so this analysis is primarily based on the way he draws his more human characters. Although I imagine the principles overlap with the other types of characters he draws to a certain degree. Okay, with that out of the way, let's get started. For starters, the characters' heads are on the bigger side as it often is in anime styles, with the shoulders being about half a head wide. Interestingly, he also draws not only the hands, but the feet on the bigger side, which gives the style a bit of old school cartoony feel, while also feeling like it's rooted in realism, since he still follows real life anatomy details. Also, the main cast, which are all teenagers, are roughly 5-ish heads tall. The faces can have a wide array of shapes, but most of the more human looking characters tend to use the typical anime face shapes with some more soft and angular heads used. He also usually sticks to the typical round soft eyes for more gentle characters and angular eyes for more intense characters. The big round eyes seen on characters like Deku often are flat at the bottom, so they're not a full proper circle. That said, he doesn't always use just these two eyes. He also uses these eyes that I've dubbed the upside down sunglasses style for when we want the eyes to feel caved in or hidden, like we see in All Might. Also, Mirio has more older cartoon style eyes, which somehow don't feel out of place, probably because the world as a whole has so much variety already. Besides that, he also includes the eye veins when characters are often in intense moments like a battle, and he also messes with the pupils sometimes. When we want a character to show intense emotions like anger in a battle sometimes, he'll make the pupils kind of look like they're exploding, and he'll also do it to the entire eye. The best example of this is in the latest episode of Bakugo and Deku. And of course, he'll exaggerate eyes at times with typical anime exaggerated eye styles. You see this a lot with Bakugo when he gets really angry. Overall, he definitely uses eyes to express emotion a lot more than I think the average artist does in my experience. And for the rest of the face, the mouth and the nose are pretty typical anime style, nothing really that special. The face can be divided into 3 chunks from the eyes to the eyebrows if they have big round eyes, and 4 chunks if it's smaller angular eyes. When it comes to the line art, it's overall pretty clean and really well done. I'm not sure what digital brush they use, but it's probably the G Pen in Clip Studio Paint. As that's a popular pen used by mangakas in Japan. Although I think he does also line traditionally and color digitally. He seems to use a mix of these methods over the years, so honestly just take whichever one's your pick. The base line art follows pretty typical rules. Clean lines with lines that overlap or where a shadow would be is often drawn a little bit thicker and darker. Another thing they do is thicken the line art for anything they want to draw attention to on the page. I did notice that in his colored illustration, the line art will also be lightly colored over in certain sections at times to give it a softer look. Although this is only done in his more modern style, I believe. If you go back to his original style when he started My Hero Academia, I don't believe he ever really did this. For his black and white manga style, he clearly is a master at line work, or I think more specifically, I think it's called hatching. All the extra lines he adds gives depth to the piece, is so well done, but not overcomplicated. So whenever he wants something to look like really creepy as well, he'll definitely really use the lines to his advantage, like when he draws the up-close face of Shigaraki. But he's also a master at knowing when to pull back the lines, as we can see later on with Shigaraki, when he has just kind of like that white hair. He doesn't put any lines in the hair, he just uses enough lines to indicate that that is hair. But other than that, all of Shigaraki's hair is just white. There's no sort of detail inside of it. That being said, he mainly only uses, I believe they're called like parallel lines, because I don't really see cross-hatching used very often in his manga work. He doesn't use black fills all too much if you compare him to other mangakas, but they are used, and they are used more often in characters like All Might, which are designed and drawn more like the way superheroes are drawn in the West. Alright, rendering is the most interesting since his style has changed over time. Originally, in the early days of My Hero Academia, he did more traditional cell shading. Nothing super fancy, just your typical methods. However, he then would draw a lot with Copics, which gave it a softer look, and now digitally, he's brought that soft look from his Copics into his digital pieces as well. I'm pretty sure he's not using any like super fancy brushes, just a hard round and maybe a blending brush, or he uses the blend feature instead. While his coloring can get kinda detailed with lots of colors, the basis still follows the 3-color method, which is the base color and 2 darker shadow colors, which is just the base color being moved down and to the right on the color wheel. For highlights, we can do the same thing just backwards, so you move up and to the left of the base color. He does also seem to mix other similar colors with similar hues in, but this is a good base to get started with. After that, the extra colors you add are kind of just based on vibes, kind of. Then we want to color the line art sometimes. So the line art around the face will be a darker color compared to the base skin tone, and so on and so forth. I wouldn't say there's a rule to this, it's just wherever he thinks it would look good. Lastly, as far as I could tell, he doesn't seem to use any special filters at the end.